Hey everyone. In this video, I'm going to be talking about some of the characteristics that VCs are looking for in founders that they talk to while pitching their startup. The kind of four key things that people are looking for are really come down to systems level thinking, domain expertise, technical insight based on that domain expertise, and drive. So with systems thinking, what I mean by that is being able to look at a market, industry, technology stack, look at the factors involved, and kind of connect the dots between factors in a way that lets you project forward how are things going to change, going to evolve over time. So clearly that ties into the concept of domain expertise. If you've got systems level thinking applied to an area, you just by kind of building up your understanding of each of those concepts, each of those technologies, each of those factors, and connecting those dots, you're inherently going to have a stronger, deeper understanding of the market that you're heading into as a founder. And so those two are kind of tied together. Of course, not everyone's brain lends itself to that systems level thinking, automatically looking at a bunch of factors and connecting the dots between them. And so how do you demonstrate domain expertise, the kind that VCs want when you're pitching your startup? This is where drive comes in. People talk loosely about wanting to work with founders who are passionate, who are driven to build a company, but really early on, if you're talking angel investment, seed round, any of those early checks where you haven't really built a business to evaluate thoroughly, you really only have to go off of your evaluation of the founder. And so, how do you compare one founder to another? Oftentimes what it comes down to is this person passionate enough, if they're not from this space originally, to have done the homework, done the legwork of investigating the factors involved in that market that they think they're going to be able to build something really valuable in. So this is where kind of combining drive with knowing that systems level thinking is important is kind of a way to manually, if that's what's required, build out that domain expertise. Literally build out for yourself definitions of important terms, notes on important factors and how they seem to be changing, to what extent you understand future roadmaps that are going to be important, again, if you're talking about components. Having that kind of understanding of the different factors at play is how you get to the last kind of characteristic that I mentioned. That's technical insight. And so technical insight sounds like something that, again, only a technical founder who's been deeply immersed in the underlying core technologies involved in a market would really be able to wrap their heads around. But I'm using kind of a broader definition of technical insight. This is something that you'd see in, for instance, the book How Google Works. What you're really talking about are understanding the rules by which a game is played. And that might actually mean, why does this technology work this way? What technical trade-offs were made? And based on new emerging tech or new techniques that have been discovered in academic research labs or what have you, perhaps it really comes down to, oh, well, actually, if we built this component this way, or if we use this new kind of component, this new experience is possible, technical insight very well might mean something along those lines. But if you're using that broader definition of technical insights, it might be something that, say, a salesperson would pick up on. Oh, customers within this segment tend to care about this factor, to an extent that wouldn't seem obvious to someone who's just building from first principles a solution that would address their needs. When you're in the context of a VC pitch, some of those things might seem obvious, especially if you're talking to someone who's built a company in that space themselves. But it's important to speak to your experiences, what you know that no one else knows. If you can give those examples of things that you've found over the course of your time being immersed in those workflows, and how your passion drove you to ask questions that went beyond the surface level observations to go, well, what might it mean if we pulled on that thread a little bit? That's really how you get to this combination of the four characteristics I'm talking about. If you're driven, you're compelled to look at a domain deeply. You're going to take a systems level approach to mapping it out, looking at the factors that matter, and by doing that, you almost can't help but identify technical insights that will let you build a differentiated product solution within that space. And even if you're not a technical founder yourself, by having a perspective that is unique, you can still find ways that obviously can deliver value that no other company, whether it's an incumbent or startup, is delivering on. And that's how you can get a VC really excited.